I chose the country Madagascar, and that is the country that I did this project on. On this slide, you see I've chosen several images, and one of them is the lemur, which, as a lot of people know, is what Madagascar is known for. Anytime you type them in the search bar, you always come up with about 1 million different kinds of lemurs. And that's a big part of their culture there. And then the country's shape with its flag on it. So Madagascar is off the coast of Mozambique, and it is an island country. It used to be part of the French Empire, and before that, it was a trading center for Europe, mostly with Britain, but with several other countries as well. But that, of course, all ended when the French came in and conquered the island. And Madagascar was part of the French Empire until about 1960, which really wasn't that long ago. I was surprised when I was doing research for this. I was like, wow. And at that time, its name was the Republic of Malagasy. And later, it was named the Republic of Madagascar, which as we know it. So Madagascar has about 18 different ethnic groups, or at least 18 main ethnic groups. The three main ethnic groups on the island are the Merina, which make up about 24% of the population, the Cotier, which is a separate section of the Merina, and it makes up a part of the 34.3% of the Merina and the Malagasy population. And then you have the Betsimarka, and they make up about 13.4%. So the Merina, they are Highlander peoples. The Cotier typically live along the coast. And the Betsmirk people live in the eastern part of the island. And then other ethnic groups are the Tishamite, the Slavic, the Maku, and the Coromanders, Creole, and the French. And they make up anywhere from about 11% to 1.1% of the population, so not a whole lot. Now, freedom and the government. So, Madagascar won their independence from the French in 1960, which I mentioned before. And of course, their name at that time was the Republic of Malagasy. And then later, it was called, of course, the Republic of Madagascar. So, an interesting fact about this country is that they have both a parliament and a president. The president is the leader of the country, and the parliament, which is made up of their National Assembly and some of the Senate, they choose the president, and then the president chooses his prime minister, which is kind of like a vice president. And that's how they run the government. They also have a cabinet which helps out the president and the prime minister. And that's how the island was it was run, and still is for the most part. There hasn't been a whole lot of changes. Um, so the presidents. Madagascar has had 12 presidents. Each president can serve 2 5-year terms, but the first president, Philbert Tarana, he actually got to serve 3. And they made this the law about the 2 5-year terms after he was president. He got to serve for 3 terms and was unopposed all 3, but his last term got cut short due to a anti-government movement getting started, and he had to leave early from his third term. And then his successor, which was his prime minister, he only lasted a year or 2, and then President Richard Ratismandrava was elected or put in the office, but the anti-government movement assassinated him 6 days into office. But before this, his ideals helped to stop the growing civil war because he had been part of the French's military. He was a career military man, and some of his different ideals helped to save the country. So political parties. Different countries some have like 2 or 3 political parties, other ones just have like one. It's monarchy. But Madagascar has, for the most part, if its country short time as an independent country, has actually has quite a lot of political parties. And sometimes one will dominate, but there's still a lot of political parties that have influence. The first political party was the Social Democratic Party, and it was led by Madagascar's first president, Philbert Tizaran, and it was mostly Marian, the ethnicity, but it included others, of course. Some of the political parties represent ethnic groups, and others represent regions or like cardinal directions, like north, south. Like different political parties might be more affiliated with certain directions. Another one of the main political parties, or at least the one that caused the most problems, was the movement for the independence of Madagascar. It was a radical group, and this is the group that actually made the first president, President Taranan, and his successor, and that successor out of office. They killed President Ratizimdara. And then the MONIMA, which is what the party was called, ended up making Madagascar have one political party, which was called the National Front for the Defense of the Revolution. And this is when the country went from a multi-party system to a singular party system. So Madagascar's major conflicts. They've had several like mini civil wars or uprisings, but the big one, or one of the big ones, was the political crisis of 2009, where a series of violent actions were made possible by, first you had President Ravaloraman, and then he was a mayor at the time, Andre Ralolini. So Rawlini accused the president of misusing the country's public or money for the public and asked the president to step down. But the president refused, and this led to it was a short civil war, but it was violent and very bloody. But one of the turning points of this war was when Rawlini set up a protest in front of the president's house. Rawlini was wanting the people to infiltrate the house, but instead the president's guards opened fire on the people and killed some of them. Rawlini lost his position during this, or right after, and the people's respect and his military's respect, and was later convicted and put in prison and exiled as well. Then Rawlini becomes the next president. And fun fact, he is the president right now as well. He was reelected. In conclusion, Madagascar has been through many political unrests, and several political takeovers, and had some very bloody wars as well, many wars as well. But through it all, Madagascar has managed to keep its democratic society fairly intact. And these different ethnic groups, they've come together to fight for a common goal, which is Madagascar as a united being and not separated. Thank you for listening to my topic, Madagascar. I'd love to answer any questions you have, so thank you.